Hey, what's up, indie music makers and indie music lovers? My name is Chris Clay, and I am the ambassador for independent music and independent artists. Thank you for joining us for another fine edition of the Indie Tip of the Week. Today, I thought we would do something just a little bit different. We get a lot of emails every week, people asking us questions, so I thought today we would dig inside our mailbag and answer some questions. How about that? Our very first question comes from Megan LeBlanc. Megan asked the question, how do you choose the right studio? Well, my answer to that is, Megan, all you have to do is find a studio that's conducive to your creativity, meaning that if you're a nighttime person, find a studio that has night sessions or 24-hour sessions. You don't want to go to a morning or a daytime-based studio if you're a creative person. Make sure that the engineer understands who you are and what you're about, and they let your creativity be creative. You know, some studios, you got engineers that try and tell you what to do, and they think this is what is best. Don't let anybody tell you about your brand. So find a studio that gives you all the things that you need, and that would be the best studio. Our next question comes from AJ Perkins, and AJ says, what should my team consist of as I get ready to put out my music? Your team should consist of somebody that manages your brand, not necessarily a manager, but like a really good friend that believes in what you do. You should have somebody in your promotion department. You should have a social media person that's definitely going to be there to continue to keep your brand relevant on social media. And I would definitely say, if you can afford it, have a street team. Street teams are very important because they can light up your area by moving your product around in the street. The more hands that you have involved, and these are hands, let me say this, these are hands that you trust. You can't trust everybody in the music business. The music business is built on thievery, so you can't trust everybody, but those that you trust, you want to make sure that they clearly understand who you are and they understand your brand and they believe in your brand. Our very next question comes from Gabriella Barney. Gabriella asked the question, I've hired an indie promoter to get my music played. How do I track what's really happening with my music and my money? That is an awesome question, Gabriella. Let me tell you, honey, the first thing you want to do is get a weekly BDS report. And the way that you do that is you can go to Nielsen, sign up with Nielsen, and get a weekly BDS report. Also, go sign up with Digital Radio Tracker so that you can now get reports from Digital Radio Tracker and find out exactly who's playing your record, what area they're playing your record in, because your indie promoter should have given you a menu of stations that they were really going to try and penetrate with your music. And, you know, in this day of time where people really are taking other people's money, saying they're doing one thing when they do another, you should be able to track your record through a weekly report and continuously be in contact with your independent promoter, finding out where they're penetrating your record so that you can follow up with social media. You can follow up with show dates and stuff like that, street teams. So definitely get you a BDS report and get you a Digital Radio Tracker report. Both of them are very important. Our very next question comes from Gina XOXO. First, thank you for the indie tip that you give us every week. You're very welcome. You're trying to help each of us to move our brand forward. But what qualifies you, Chris Clay, to give us advice in this business? Well, I think what qualifies me is my experience. I'll start at the very beginning. I was in radio for a very long time, almost 20 years to be exact. I worked for Warner Brothers Records. I know that side of the business. I worked in the promotion department. I worked in production. So I get that. And then I've worked with Master P. I helped Master P build an empire with his stuff. And now I'm a business owner, and I've been owning my own business since 2017. We put out records all the time. I work with artists on a day-to-day basis. That's how I feed myself and my family. So I think I'm qualified. I go to many different seminars. I ask a ton of questions. I pay money for the education. I go to these seminars to learn more about publishing, more about royalty rights, more about everything that goes along with this business. So am I an expert? That's a strong word. I am a pro, though. I know my business, and the coolest thing is that if I don't know, I have a very dope lawyer that's been in the business for well over 35 years. I can always pick up the phone and call my lawyer and say, hey man, I'm faced with this problem. What do you think I should do? And what's the legal thing to do? So I don't know if I'm an expert, but I'm definitely a pro. So I think that makes me qualified based on my experience in the radio and record business. That's what makes me qualified to be able to give weekly advice. And not only that, let me add this as a footnote. I'm out here doing the same thing that you're doing every week. I get out, I chase records, I get out and talk to radio stations on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. I have artists that I'm putting out myself. So the things that I'm giving you is feedback that I'm getting from radio, and it's also the feedback of my own experience of putting out records. Our very next question comes from Tony Craddock. Tony asked the question, hey Chris, I'm sitting here on 3 records that I've recorded. I've picked the one I want to put out. First, I took it to my local radio station, in which they were very nice. They gave me the easy letdown. You need some internet traction, social media presence, and streaming numbers. Is this bullshit, or are they just jerking my chain? Well, Tony, let me say this. I told you in one of my tips before that radio people are not in the business of breaking music. They are only playing hit music because that's the only way that they can keep their advertisers. So I don't believe they're jerking your chain. I believe that you should start your record on the internet. And I know you listen to your local radio station. You hear a lot of new artists on the radio and you're saying, hey, look, they're playing those records. Well, those people have done their homework. If you Google those artists, you will see that they have a ton of internet presence before they actually started chasing radio. Their streaming numbers are up on Spotify. They're getting a lot of internet traction on the record. So I don't believe that your local radio station is jerking your chain. I think they told you the truth. And that's something that you should commend them for, because a lot of local radio stations don't tell you all of that information. They just say, no, get out and don't bring the record back. So I think you should tell your local radio station, thank you for being honest with you. Now, I would suggest that you start your record on the internet. I think that it's cheaper, meaning that you can start a whole internet campaign and for about $2,000 versus $30,000, $40,000 going to commercial radio. You can get the traction. Internet radio works your social media as well as giving you the streaming numbers that you need. And after a few weeks or 8 to 12 week campaign, then I think you could go back to your local radio station, show them the proof of performance on your record, and then have your record deliver those numbers. So why don't you try that first, Tony? I don't think that you should just come straight out of the studio, straight to your local radio station. I think that you're going to get pushback after pushback after pushback. Take your record to the web. The web gives you a lot of leeway, and there's a ton of internet stations that are looking for content on a day-to-day basis, and they want to play hot records. So if you got a hot record, Tony, start your record on the internet. And if you need more information, you can go to Business 101. businessmusic101.com, businessmusic101.com. You can find all the resources you need to pick up internet radio stations, to pick up all kinds of stuff. So stop by businessmusic101.com. I'll put the website right here so that you can go check it out. businessmusic101.com. Go get the sources, the resources that you need to help you build your record and your brand. Let's see what else we got here in our mailbag today. It comes from KJ. KJ says, I've been making records and putting out music for about a year now. I think I'm ready for a manager to manage me and my music. Do you think it's a good idea for me to get a manager now? Wow, great question. KJ, I'm going to say no. Managers are running a tab on you. A great manager is running a tab on you. He's getting anywhere from 12 to 20% of he's running a tab for everything he does for you, whether it's making phone calls, whether it's sending out stuff through the mail, whether it's connecting you with other situations or connecting you with a booking agent. He's running a tab on you. So if you're not making money to be able to pay your tab, then that tab just kind of sits there and it continues to build and build and build and build. And I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's I think it's safe to get somebody that you trust, somebody that's a really good friend that believes in your brand, that's willing to help you. There's a ton of people out here that just want to be a part of this business, and they're willing to attach themselves and their resources to something that's good, KJ. So definitely find one of those people in your life, man. Somebody that you like, somebody you trust, somebody that you know that believes in what you do. And let's let the brand grow some more to where you're making money and your schedule gets really hectic and you can't manage it anymore. You know, I know people think it's cool to say, yeah, I'm the artist and that's my manager, man. Well, at the end of the day, I'm not really down with that, because you got somebody that's running a tab on your business that when you get a deal or you start making money, they're going to present that invoice to you, and that invoice can be very astronomical. So KJ, I don't think it's a good idea right now unless you're already profitable and you're making money with your brand and your schedule is hectic. If that's the case, then yes, go out and find yourself a manager. Alrighty, people, it is time for our Indie Spotlight Artist of the Week. And you know, I'm always finding that hot stuff. And today I got some fire for you, baby. He comes from Atlanta, Georgia. His name is Coriology. That's right, Coriology. Coriology has a brand new record. It's called Be With You. It is a smash. It's a summertime hit. You have to check it out. It's playing all over the internet. You got to check it out. And he's playing under this video as well. This dude is the bomb. We're going to try and get him in an interview soon so I can find out more about him. But he has a brand new record. It's called Be With You. Coriology. He's our Indie Spotlight Artist of the Week.
I'm so fascinated. I wanna get to know you better. We can do whatever, don't want the pressure. But can I spend a little time with you? See you in a day or two. Whatever you wanna do, I'll do. I only wanna be with you. May I have a little time with you? Oh, what do I have?
Well, good people, that's going to put a wrap on it for another edition of the Indie Tip of the Week. Hopefully we were able to give you some information that can make a difference in your brand. We'll be back next week to do it all over again. Make sure you share this video and subscribe to this video so that you can get our tips every week directly in your email. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Keep the music playing, and I want you to play it real loud.
This is my love letter. Get to know you better. We can do whatever. Don't wanna pressure you. Just want a little time with you. See you in a day or two. I'm down for whatever you want to do. I just wanna be with you. May I have a little time with you? What do I have?